Good evening, friends. It's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. I am fresh off of teaching a class this morning for our 6-week intensive program. We went through a framework today that I often use in marketing these days, and I'm using it again tonight to bring you this particular message. I want to start with my post that I wrote this morning, which was about having forgotten how to think big. I used to, it's funny, in my 20s, even my 30s, thinking big was exciting for me. You didn't have to tell me to think big. I just thought big. And some of it was out of passion, and some of it was like out of like, let's see how big we can think. But over time, as I thought big, I kept not producing the result that I had thought, right? And so it's interesting that over time, if you keep holding the thought of thinking big, but you can't produce a result, you start to doubt yourself, and you start to doubt the vision that you have. Like, what's the point? For me, it occurred like resignation. I'm like, what's the point of thinking big if I don't have the resources to help fund it? And so, I would go chase the next shiny object that I thought could deliver the results, and it didn't. Then I would go chase another book, course, author, program that I thought would produce the result, and it didn't. And over time, maybe I'm just slow. I think some people get to success a lot faster than I did, frankly. And maybe you can relate to that, right? Like, you look out in the world and you see other people having results who've been at it less years than you have, who don't seem as smart as you, right? And somehow they're making it work. And you're like, it's like, what's wrong with me? It's not because I can't think big. I've thought big. I'm just not able to produce the result to help me fund the vision that I have, right? Totally get it. And so in that process, we stop thinking big. That is the major problem here. The big problem is that we stopped thinking big. Because I think in our soul, like in our heart of hearts, we as souls want to live a big life. We have big impact to make. And so it's extra crushing. Like, it's one thing to think big and say, I just want to make a ton of money and have no heart for people or whatever. It's even more crushing when it's your heart that wants to impact something, and you can't produce a result. And so it affects you in a certain way. You're like, why am I doing this? So I want to spend a couple minutes with you just sort of looking at the bottom line here. Like, how do we get back in the game, right? In fact, I want you to start by, I think before we can go to tactics, you have to get to possibility again. You have to start to dream again. For me, look, I'm not even sure that I'm fully on the other side of that yet. I think for me, I've started to step my toe out a little bit and look for what is the next biggest thing I can actually wrap my head around. Now, in the past, I'd just be like, let me just create a crazy number. Now I'm actually looking and feeling for what can I believe for? What can I believe in? What bigger vision than what I'm seeing now could I wrap my head around? So I'll ask the question to you, right? Like, what is a bigger vision than you have now that doesn't feel completely ludicrous and insane? And here's what I want you to add to that vision. I want you to add to that vision. I want you to add to it all the support that you need. Because I used to have vision, but then I felt like I had to do it all. I think all of us would dream bigger if we could feel like we had the support to pull it off. So the administrative team, the creative team, like all the stuff. And I don't want you to think about that vision from a place of having to babysit people or manage people, because this is where we start to kill our dream. We start going into details of it, and we're like, oh yeah, but if I did that, then I'd have to do this, and then I'd have to do that. And we start to undermine the very thing our soul is calling us to do. So the problem is we've stopped dreaming big. The possibility, what's possible on the other side of that is that you could actually have everything that you've dreamed of before, and you have the support in a team to pull it off. Okay, that's the first place I need you to get to. The second thing then is to look at what is the mindset that's needed to cross that gap, right? How do we cross from I've stopped thinking big to now, not only do I think big, but I have a team that helps me implement everything I'm thinking of. That's a big gap that we have to cross. So I'm going to give you one thought mindset thing here to do that. And for me, it all starts, there's a lot that goes into this, right? Like that's a big gap to make. So I'm just going to give you one. But the first thing that I think that we need to make that happen is a system that creates leads, that creates cash. Why? Right, because without cash, you can't fund the dream. Without cash, you stop dreaming big. So you need something that consistently not just pays you, but funds the growth of the vision. You need a system for that. I think it's easy to forget that because we think, oh, well, I'm going to have this whatever the big vision is, and I'll have a team for it. But then we because we've been there and done it with all the marketing courses and all the things we've tried, we're like, yeah, but marketing doesn't work, or maybe it works, but I just can't seem to figure it out. I'm stuck right here. Like this right here is where I'm stuck. I don't know what else to try. I'm not willing to spend more money on I'm not willing to speculate with my money on what other marketing things might work. And when that's the mindset, right? If that's the mindset you have now, can you see that that's a lid? Like you can't escape. You will forever be stuck where you are. You'll never get to the bigger vision if where you're stuck is, yeah, I've tried it all and I'm too afraid to speculate on the next marketing thing. So I just won't spend anything. I just won't invest in anything, and I'll just hope and pray that it turns around. That doesn't work. So what there is to look for, and by the way, I'm not saying go speculate on marketing programs and courses, right? We don't need to speculate. But what you do need to start to look for, you do need to find some model, some process, some approach that feels congruent with who you are. Okay? Part of that will come from how you interact with the person that has the program. Like, do you believe them? Do you like them? Is their style like your style? And then you can look at other people that have gone through their program. Did those people like it? Were those people like me? Right? And you start to get a sense of or feeling out, is this the right program? That minimizes the speculation and raises the effectiveness or the chances of effectiveness in your marketing. But make no mistake, if you're going to have a business and an impact, the lifestyle you wanted, the money you wanted, and the impact you wanted, you're going to have some kind of lead generating system, a system. It's not hustle and grind because that's not reproducible. You'll burn yourself out on that. You need a system that does it. So that's the mindset. The mindset is to start thinking from what is the lead generating system that I could have that would be congruent. Add that to the mindset, because sometimes we don't think about congruency. We're like, okay, I got to go find some marketing system, so I'll go find a system, but I don't like this system, but he said to find it, right? So it's not just a system, but it's a congruent system. It's something that, can you believe for a moment that you would love it? You want a system that you love, that breathes life into you. Most marketing doesn't do that. So you need a place that breathes life into you when you market. Okay, that's the mindset. So let me take you now to the action in this. The skill set in this is to produce content daily. I want you to produce content daily. Why? Because content, that's kind of it is what it is. Content is content. But it sort of like bastardizes the heart of it, right? Like the heart of this, of content, is your message for the world. So what there is to do is go share your message with the world. Now, I realize that's as simple as that sounds. I know that there's a lot that goes into that, right? It's to actually identify and clarify what it is you're trying to say, especially when you turn the camera on or you write a post about something, can be really hard. So when we're talking one-on-one with somebody, sometimes our passion comes out. We don't even know how to articulate it, but it does come out. But when we put our marketing hat on, it doesn't. So things get weird. And so we don't produce content daily. What I'm telling you is that if you're going to have a lead generating system that feels congruent, you're going to have to get very congruent in what you say in a day in the life of you in your marketing. You need to get so comfortable with the process and the message for what you say in the world that you could do it all day long and never get tired of it. I think not enough people talk about this in marketing. I think people relate to marketing like, oh, well, you just need to suck it up and go do it and grind it out and figure it out. You're not going to like it. But I think you can like it. You can like it when the thing you have to say to the world is an expression of your soul. When the thing you want to say to the world turns you on and fires you up, then you can do it every day and not get tired of it. That's the secret. And let me listen, your content is the constant. Your content will never stop. From now until the day you die, your content will never stop. It can't. Your people and the relationship with your people at scale depends on it. And if you want to move into other types of strategies like paid traffic strategies, etc., you need content. Well, listen, I have a marketing agency. We don't do paid advertising at this time. I've talked to other companies and agencies that do paid marketing for clients, and you know what they say is one of the hardest things they have, one of the hardest things they bump up against is getting content from their clients. Because you can't run one ad for a year or 2 years. You need new content all the time. So the production strategy, the action that there is to do, right, in the world is to begin to produce content daily. Okay, that's what you got to do. So that brings me to a path. I want to show you there's a path to creating this content daily, and it's simple. There's 4 steps. Number 1, you have to find it, right? What is the conversation you want to lead in the world? Because when you find that, now content isn't hard. When you find a thing that you could talk about on a daily basis and never get tired of, now content isn't hard. And when content's not hard, building a marketing system around that content that produces consistent cash flow also isn't as hard. So first you got to find the it you're wanting to talk about in the world. Then you've got to capture it. And we capture it with video. I mean, that's what we recommend. You can also do writing. That's great too. But video is your most flexible medium. Okay. So you got to capture it. Number 3, you got to produce it, meaning you've got to sort of build it out, right? Bring your brand elements into it. Make sure that it fits what it is you're trying to communicate. And number 4, you have to share it. Once it's produced, you have to actually take it out to the world so the world can interact with it. Now, that's 4 simple steps. Obviously, there's more that goes into it than just those 4 steps. But be clear that for you to get back to thinking big about life, where life is exciting, life is an adventure, adventure is out there, right? That to get to that part, to that spot, you have to change your mindset. And the first place I'm suggesting you change it is to start thinking about, this is... Mayday, plane is going down. You need a marketing system. Because without that, you're going to be dependent on word of mouth and referrals, which are not predictable. Okay? And then from there, you need to go out and you need to start creating that content on a daily basis, because that is the lifeline to why people want to work with you. Your content is the way people get to know you digitally. Okay, so if you'd like to go deeper on those 4 steps, I recommend you take my free class at groundswellmethod.com. It's free. You could start it and be done with it tonight. And it walks you through not only the 4 steps of that, but also the more of the perspective around it and why content is the foundation of you having a reproducible, scalable marketing system. Okay. So you go to groundswellmethod.com, check that out there. And I'll leave you with this assignment. Okay. You don't have to tell me in the comments, but I want you to go journal about what would life look like? What do you want it to look like? If you had a team to support you do all of those things, what would it be? Okay. Thanks for hanging out with me with this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow, see ya.